Imagine you are standing on a street corner in Dakar, Senegal. The sun is bright, and the air is filled with the sounds of talking and laughter. Suddenly, a person walks by wearing a dress that is so colorful and vibrant it seems to glow. The patterns are not random, they are geometric, bold, and full of life. You cannot help but smile, and maybe you even find yourself shouting out a compliment. This is not just a piece of fabric, it is a conversation. In many parts of the world, we have been taught to treat our clothing as a shield to make us invisible. We want to be innocuous, to blend in, and to avoid any unwanted attention. We think that being responsible with our fashion means buying something cheap and then giving it away to a charity shop when we are bored with it. But what if our modern way of dressing is actually a form of silence that is hurting both our spirits and our planet? We are living in a moment where the fast fashion industry is one of the most wasteful systems on Earth. Every single second, a garbage truck full of clothes is dumped into a landfill. We are going to explore a different way of thinking about what we wear. We will look at how math and art can come together to create clothing that fits every body, lasts for generations, and produces almost zero waste. It is a journey from the high-pressure world of finance to the creative heartbeat of West African artisan culture. We will see how a demand chain can replace a supply chain and why being a rebel in the fashion world might just be the most common-sense thing you can do. On the surface, we believe that fashion is about trends and seasons. The surface concept is that there are 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter, and we must buy new things for each one to stay relevant. We look at a clothing store and assume that a successful brand must have thousands of items sitting in a warehouse, waiting for someone to buy them. On the surface, it seems like making things easy for the customer means having every possible size from 0 to 14 pre-made and ready to ship. We assume that sustainability is a fancy modern word for people who live in big cities and shop at expensive boutiques. This surface view tells us that we are just consumers at the end of a long line. We think that our only job is to pick something off a shelf. But this surface level of thinking creates a lazy system. It is a system that overproduces, guesses what people want, and then throws away the mistakes. We stay on the surface because it is what we know, but it is a system built on wasting both money and resources. Behind this surface view of convenience lies a hidden assumption that new is always better than durable. We often assume that if a piece of clothing doesn't fit us perfectly after our body changes, it is our fault, or the clothing is simply done. But the hidden truth is that clothing can be designed with emotional sustainability. This means creating items that are adjustable and inclusive, pieces that embrace you like a friend rather than insulting you when your size changes. We assume that math is a cold, boring subject for classrooms and bank vaults. The hidden reality is that math is the secret language of art. Equations can create the curve of a flower or the pattern of a textile. We assume that charity is always a good thing. However, the hidden reality is that shipping our old t-shirts to other countries can actually destroy local economies and erase the skills of local artisans who cannot compete with free waste. There is a hidden assumption that to be successful in business, you must follow a specific blueprint, raise a ton of money, build a big factory, and move as fast as possible. But the hidden truth is that a slow, intentional approach can lead to a business that is not only profitable but also deeply human. This leads us to a structural pattern of how we have organized our modern world around frictionless living. We see a pattern where we want everything with one click. This structure of instant gratification is what fuels fast fashion. It creates a pattern of guessing where companies produce 1 million shirts hoping to sell half of them. This is a structural waste factor that we have simply accepted as normal. We see another structural pattern in how we teach. We separate math from art and science from soul. This structure makes students hate subjects because they don't see the beauty in them. When we break this pattern and show how a math teacher can become a fashion designer, the pieces of the puzzle click together. Another structural pattern is the erasure of local culture through globalized waste. By flooding a market with second-hand clothes, we create a structure where it is impossible for a local weaver or leather worker to make a living. By recognizing these patterns, we can see that the rules of the fashion industry are not laws of nature, they are just habits that we have the power to break. We can reframe our entire perspective by seeing fashion as a demand chain instead of a supply chain. Imagine a brand that operates like a restaurant. You don't pre-cook 1,000 meals and hope people show up. you wait for the order and then you make the food. We can reframe waste as a financial failure as much as an environmental one. If you are wasting fabric, you are wasting money. We can reframe sustainability not as a trend, but as common sense or life itself, the way artisan families have lived for centuries by using every part of a resource. Reframing the experience of getting dressed means moving from being invisible to being celebrated. We can reframe a compliment from a stranger as a gift rather than a burden. This perspective shift allows us to see that clothing is a tool for humanizing artistic expression. We stop being imposters because we realize that not knowing the rules of a broken industry is actually our greatest strength. Applying this to your daily life starts with questioning the why behind your purchases. You can apply the principle of emotional durability by choosing clothes that are adjustable or flowy, items that can stay with you through different stages of your life. Instead of buying a rigid pair of jeans that makes you feel bad, choose a dress or a wrap that grows with you. You can apply the idea of crowdsourcing in your own life by asking for feedback and building a community around what you do. Before you start a big project, ask the people around you what they actually need. You can apply the math of beauty by looking for patterns in nature or music and letting them inspire your own creativity. Apply this by resisting the urge to be invisible. The next time you walk out the door, wear something that makes you feel happy, and don't be afraid to sing the praises of others. When you see someone looking great, tell them. This creates a group chat energy in real life, where everyone feels supported and seen. You can also apply a zero-waste mindset by finding new uses for the scraps in your life, whether that is actual fabric or just unused time and energy. It is helpful to remember the phrase "ambolo mordalo," together we are strong. This is not just a nice saying, it is a business model and a way of life. It means that when we support local artisans and choose quality over quantity, we are building a world that sustains us all. We are moving from a world of lazy systems to a world of intentional design. We are learning that the most fashionable thing you can wear is your own authentic story. We are finding that when we stop trying to follow a blueprint that doesn't fit, we find the freedom to create our own. The future of fashion is not in a giant warehouse, it is in the hands of people who love what they make and the people who feel beautiful wearing it. We are all artists in our own way, and the canvas is how we choose to live our lives every day. If you could strip away all the rules you were told about how to be successful or how to look, what is the one rebellious choice you would make today that would make you feel more like a human and less like a machine?